You are stressed about an email. Not a predator, not a famine, not a rival tribe standing at the edge of your territory with spears. An email. A small block of text sent by another human sitting in a climate-controlled room, probably drinking coffee. And yet your heart rate climbed. Your jaw tightened. Your body pushed cortisol into your bloodstream like it was preparing you to fight or run. Your brain did that. And your brain had no idea the threat was digital. This is the strange situation you are living in. You carry inside your skull a piece of biological hardware that was built for a world that no longer exists. It was shaped by hundreds of thousands of years of pressure, danger, and survival. And then, in what amounts to a blink of evolutionary time, the world changed completely. The brain did not. Neuroscientist David Eagleman calls this the problem of living in the present with equipment from the past. The architecture of your mind was not designed for offices or social media or the sound of a phone notification. It was designed for the savannah. And it is still running that ancient code every single day inside the circumstances of your modern life. Here is what that means, and it is stranger than you might expect. Your brain is not a single unified thing. It is more like a collection of older systems stacked on top of each other, each one built at a different point in evolutionary history, each one still running. The outermost layer, the prefrontal cortex, handles reasoning, planning, and long-term thinking. That part is relatively new. Beneath it sit older structures, structures that do not speak in logic, structures that speak in threat and reward and fear and hunger. The amygdala is one of them. It is roughly the size and shape of an almond. It has been with you in one form or another for hundreds of millions of years. Its job is to detect threats and trigger a response before you have time to think, before you have time to decide. It fires first. And when it fires, it hijacks the newer systems. This is why you cannot.
This means your brain is often not responding to what is actually in front of you. It is responding to what it predicts is in front of you, based on what was in front of your ancestors. When something is socially uncertain, your brain does not just register ambiguity. It reaches into its archive of past experiences, past patterns, past dangers, and fires the response it fired before, often the danger response. Because in the old world, a false alarm cost you almost nothing. Missing a real threat could cost you everything. Psychologists call this negativity bias, and it is not a flaw in your design. It was the correct design for the environment you were built for. Your ancestors who noticed potential threats and responded to them survived at a higher rate than those who shrugged. They passed their nervous systems to you. You are the descendant of the warriors, the hypervigilant, the ones who flinched first. Which is why modern life feels, to so many people, vaguely threatening almost all the time. Think about what your brain registers when you open a social media application. Immediately, it begins comparing. Comparison is an ancient survival tool. In a small tribe, knowing where you stood relative to others had direct consequences for your survival. Higher status meant better access to food, mates, shelter. Lower status meant risk. So the brain monitors social standing constantly. It was built to do this. But it was built to do this in a group of roughly 150 people. Now, it is doing it against millions. Against a curated, filtered, artificially brightened version of millions of lives. And the brain has no setting for this. It cannot recalibrate to the scale. It just registers what it always registered. How do I compare? Am I enough? Am I safe within this group? And if the answer is uncertain, it fires the old signal. Researcher Robin Dunbar, who spent decades studying human social networks, proposed that the human brain evolved to manage relationships with roughly 150 individuals. That number appears across ancient hunter-gatherer bands, early villages, military units, and modern social groups. It is called Dunbar's number, and it represents something real in your neural architecture. The parts of your brain that track social bonds, remember faces, model other people's intentions, they have capacity limits. They were built for a specific scale.
Your default mode network is a set of brain regions that activates when you are not focused on a specific external task, when you daydream, when your mind wanders. Researchers assumed for a long time that this network was doing nothing useful. Then, neuroscientist Marcus Reichel began studying it closely and discovered something remarkable. The default mode network is one of the most metabolically active systems in the brain. When you do nothing, your brain burns almost as much energy as when you are focused and working. It is running a background process. That process is social modeling. When your mind wanders, it is running simulations of other people, imagining scenarios, rehearsing conversations, predicting how others will behave. This is the ancient social intelligence that allowed your ancestors to cooperate, to plan together, to read each other, and survive together. Your brain treats social processing not as a luxury, but as the default mode of existence.
the baseline, the thing it returns to whenever you stop giving it something else to do. You are, at your most fundamental level, a social creature running social software on ancient hardware. And this creates a specific and very modern problem. Every stimulus that your environment throws at you, every notification, every scroll, every alert, your brain processes it through the lens of this ancient equipment. The threat detector fires for things that are not threats. The social comparison system runs on a scale it was not designed for. The loneliness alarm sounds in crowds. The fear response triggers for text on a screen. And the default mode, when it should be running its social rehearsal and recovery process, gets constantly interrupted before it can finish. So what do you do with this? The research suggests something simple and counterintuitive. The systems that are misfiring are not broken. They are ancient and they are powerful, and they are trying to protect you. The goal is not to silence them. It is to understand what they are actually responding to and to give them more accurate information. When the threat response fires, your prefrontal cortex can, with practice, step in and name it. This is the mechanism that researchers like Lisa Feldman Barrett describe as emotional granularity. The more specifically